Hey small group leaders, I want to talk with you about learning styles. We typically learn best when we are taught in a way that we connect with that information. Seems pretty obvious, right? Well, something that seems maybe not so obvious is that when we typically teach only from that same style that we personally learn best. When we teach that way, we can miss connecting information with up to 3 out of 4 of our students who have a different learning style. As a church, we are coming together in some really cool ways. One of these ways is understanding these learning styles. Pastor Cameron has already begun to take his adult Sunday school leaders through the same process that we're going to be looking at here today. Let's walk through these learning styles together, and I think you may be surprised at how well we're doing as a group. So here's what we're looking at. We're going to be looking at 4 learning styles. That's it, just 4. This information is super important for us to begin to understand, because as we begin to teach different learning styles ourselves, we will help students connect with this information, and we have some pretty awesome information that we're trying to share with our students. And the cool part is that we may be even to help students connect with God for the very first time. I can remember hearing people say, "Oh man, now I understand," or "Man, I wish somebody would have given me that information sooner." And what's actually taking place is not that they're gaining new information most of the times, it's that somebody taught them in a way that they were actually able to understand that information that was being presented. So let's get to it. Let's walk through these 4 learning styles together. And the important thing is to see how all of these fit together, see the flow of all 4 of these learning styles. Just one quick side note, if you were to do a Google search, you would see that there are multiple different learning styles out there. I did a search and came up with 6, 7, 9, and even 12 different learning styles. But as a church, we're adopting Marlene Lefever's method. Okay, so here they are: imaginative, analytic, common sense, and dynamic. Those are the 4 learning styles that we're going to focus on. And as we press into this, I'm sure you're going to see students and even yourself in one of those 4 categories. As I begin to describe each one of these learning styles, I would encourage you to actually be writing down students who you think fit under each one of those learning styles. And I think you'll be amazed to understand how different your group actually is when it comes to learning information. Imaginative learners. These learners are feeling people who get involved with others and learn best in settings that allow interpersonal relationships to develop. These curious, questioning learners learn by listening and sharing ideas. They see the broad overview or big picture much more easily than the small details. They learn by sensing, feeling, watching. They can see all sides of the issues presented. Analytic learners. These learners learn by watching and listening. They expect a teacher to be the primary information giver, while they sit and carefully assess the value of the information presented. They are the students who learn in a way most teachers have traditionally taught, and so they are often considered the best learners. They are strategic planners, and they aim for perfection, the right answers, the A's in school and in life. These learners want all the data before they can make a decision. Common sense. Common sense learners like to play with ideas to see if they are rational and workable. These students want to test theory in the real world to apply what has been learned. They love to get the job done. They are hands-on people who, using their own ideas, can analyze problems and solve or fix them. Common sense learners, as the name suggests, excel when dealing with what is practical and of immediate importance to them. They learn best when learning is combined with doing. Dynamic learners also enjoy action as part of their learning process. But rather than thinking projects through to the rational conclusion, dynamic learners excel in following hunches and sensing new directions and possibilities. These risk takers thrive on situations that call for flexibility and change, and find real joy in starting something new or putting their personal stamp of originality on an idea. Okay, so what do we do with this information? If you're feeling a little overwhelmed, it's okay. I hope to explain this in a way that will make you connect better with this information. I hope to teach to your learning style, because there is almost this natural flow of learning that takes place as we just look through these different learning styles. One way that I can point that out is for you to think about how we do Sunday mornings. If we were to break down what our Sunday school time looks like, we really have two sections. Those sections are the opening or the unpacking of the information, which is during our big group time. And then we have where we dive in deeper to that information during our small group time, giving our students some time to really wrestle with and come up with some practical application. So if you look at the flow of those two things, what we cover in the opening and beginning time really are for the imaginative learner and the analytic learner, because we present the information and tell them why it's important, which kind of encompasses really those two learning styles. And then when we break off into our small group time, we really help our students to begin to understand and work with those ideas. And then before they leave, we give them some ways and some tools to make that idea real and even bigger in their lives. Now look, I know this doesn't go down perfect every Sunday, but that's not the point. The point is that as we press into learning styles, we will begin to teach to more students the same information, but we'll be able to help them connect with that information in ways they've never been able to before. I'll be sending you all a learning style assessment. Now this assessment will help give you an idea of the learning style that you learn best in. And I found this to be super helpful for me, because as I was able to mark down and look at exactly my learning style that I learned best in, not only was I able to feel confident in learning better, but I was able to understand that, man, I really do a good job teaching in the style that I'm comfortable with, but where I need some help is teaching in those other styles. And like I said at the beginning, is that if we only teach in our one style, we could be missing 3 out of 4 of those students who learn from other styles in our groups. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty confident that none of us would be okay with teaching to one student out of 4 if we ended up with 4 different learning styles in our small groups. Man, I love you guys, and I super appreciate all of the hard work that you do. I super appreciate the relationship with Jesus that you have, that you pour out onto these students.